The Insurrection War. To the more casual of lore fans, it's a somewhat obscure event in the Halo universe, which, unbeknownst to some, is still a threat to humanity and the inner colonies leading up to the year 2558. It's a time of growth for the UNSC and also for growing hostility towards Earth, and it's clear that the Insurrection views the government's reign as a tyrannical oppressor. But the stories told in the Insurrection War are not black and white. Throughout your time trailing the universe as the Master Chief, it was clear that there was only one goal: defeat the Covenant and Flood at any cost. Humanity could not coexist with such a destructive force, but in a potential Halo Insurrection game, what I'm going to fight the case for is that there's room for such nuance and difficult moral decisions that can really impact the player. Two obstinate sides that cannot find an agreement, ultimately leading to one great event that will temporarily unite each camp to fighting for a singular cause. To some, there's a case to say that the insurrectionists are not bad people. They in fact just want their freedoms to live an independent life without rule of governments they cannot influence. But the UEG, as well as other governing bodies, despite not having a face, could quite easily be portrayed as the evil when they're simply trying just to keep unity, peace and order in the human-occupied galaxy. We're first going to have a look at the stories that already exist in Halo, the significance they had, and we'll then look at what this game could adopt or be more focused around to see how it would play mechanically, and lastly we'll discuss the impact it could have on the greater franchise. This is my case, and it's crucial to know why it'd be worth a large investment, and I think it's a game that could help the franchise prosper, and it would mould a new direction not only for 343 but for the existing fan base. So this is my case for the Halo Insurrectionist game.
Ultimate Halo.
What's going on guys, Fletch here from Ultimate Halo. Make sure you support this video by leaving a like, and also we do plenty of topical videos on this channel, so a subscription is much appreciated if you like this type of content. We're first of all going to look to cover some of the most key points about the Insurrectionist War you should know about if you're not already acquainted with this element of the lore. For as long as there have been outer colonies, there has always been a degree of unrest. The feeling that the occupants of these distant worlds were just resources to the general scope of humanity rather than integral parts of human life. Rebellion has always played a part of some sort, and fighting eventually erupted in the outer colonies in the 2400s, when the Office of Naval Intelligence took it upon themselves to relaunch the precursor to the Spartans, the Orion Project, which was first introduced in the 24th century, assisting the need to be able to suppress the rebellion and establish a tighter grip on these distant worlds. Such examples of this personnel was Avery Johnson, James Lee and Morales, which was specially trained and augmented to execute high-risk operations. There were many conflicts that took place leading up to the Human Covenant's War in 2494. There was the Callisto incident where insurrectionists hijacked a UNSC corvette, killed the crew, which ultimately led to the UNSC to attempt to hunt the ship down. Later that year, these rebels would take control of Eridanus II, the homeworld of the Master Chief Spartan 117, and as a result of the coup d'etat, they established their own government. Later, as multiple wars raged on, the insurrection got closer to home. Eventually, in 2524, fighting takes place in the Epsilon Eridani system, home to the planets Reach and Tribute. Although it wasn't a wide-scale warfare, Sergeant Johnson and Nolan Byrne were involved in a hostage situation where Byrne's team were killed in a restaurant in Caspar City, which you will remember from the Halo 4 multiplayer map named Landfall. 38 civilians, 3 Marines and 2 rebels died as a result of the bombing, which then led them being ejected and stationed on Harvest. Bloody war was common upon the insurrection, and these rebels would fight as hard as they could to pursue their cause. It wasn't until 2525 when Operation Trebuchet, a widespread operation to crush rebellion, was put on hold when the UNSC made first contact with the alien race. Soon to be known as the Covenant, this seismic event temporarily, for the most part, concluded any aggression between human forces, as survival was an imminent priority. The reason why such events were crucial is because it gives a deep importance to the origins of the Spartans and how the relationships between planets was felt amongst the inhabitants in the known human-occupied space. We all know the story of the Master Chief, the Covenant, the Forerunners, and some of the inner colonies, but not only do these stories of the insurrection pave way for referential storytelling for other elements of the universe we know so well, but it also allows the player to experience still one of the more arguably morally ambiguous stories that the franchise has to offer. In essence, it's a great time to pull strings at what the player already knows, but shedding light on what they may not. So what you can do is create an engaging narrative for all player bases. Plus, who's to say that narrative-based games don't sell in 2019? That's right. At this stage, I'm going to put my admittedly loose thoughts around how the game should play and how it should focus the story. In my personal opinion, I think Sergeant Johnson should play a role, not just for fan service, but simply because he did play a crucial role in this time in the universe. I would like to see such a game bridge the gap between the depths of the war and our first encounter with the Covenant, and the reason for this is because it will give the player a level of perspective, in a similar fashion to Halo Reach, where you play out the inevitable, but what happens in the meantime between the characters and the world you occupy is going to be the roller coaster ride what the player has to experience. If not, choose to play out some morally testing decisions that will give weight to the world that the player inhabits. I vision a branch of the Orion Project trying to crush Insurrection, but having to feel the effects of the war on civilian life and battling between their sympathy for their cause and just the simple orders that you are given. As a primal instincts, humans just want to be free. We don't like being ruled by what we can't see, and I think this will be a core principle that shall cause such an uncomfort for the player making all of these decisions. I do believe that the core and fundamental gameplay elements of Halo can still exist, but probably more akin to Halo Reach's beta stage, where your character felt less able than a normal Spartan, and it had more weight to their movement. The key words here for the tone, I would hope, are military, gritty, unsettled and tense. That's a tone I hope encapsulates this game idea, and I'd absolutely love to see it. In a sense, a big draw of inspiration for me would be Fallout New Vegas. Now, I'm not saying that it has to be an RPG or look the same in any way, but the way this game makes you feel for your decisions is something I'm still yet to experience with another game. I remember being sat there struggling to make difficult decisions that had weight, and the consequences stayed with me for quite a long time, and that's why I hold it in such regard. I remember being sat there genuinely for like 20 minutes in one instance thinking, what the hell should I do, because this is so morally ambiguous. Halo can almost capture this and capture a new audience in doing so. It's a perfect time in Halo's history to tell different stories that are independent from the lore we're used to, making the games more diverse as a result. I'm also not going to say that this game should happen anytime soon. I think that is something that should be considered going forward, and obviously Halo Infinite is a huge focus for 343 Industries and Microsoft, but I think we can all admit to some degree we miss that kind of gritty feel. I remember seeing the first trailer for Halo Wars 1 when that came out on the Xbox 360, and I loved the grit, I loved the way that the Marines looked, and I think something more akin to that would really be a unique selling point for this game, especially when so many games are running with a futuristic element these days. And I also think another great example of the aesthetic is Winter Contingency in Halo Reach. That mission was just really grounded. It made you feel human to some degree, at least anyway, and the humans just occupying that area just really made it feel realistic. On the last base I would like to cover, I want to express that this game can truly have a significant place in the franchise and set paths for expansions of the franchise in general. I know video games are expensive, time consuming and difficult to make, so it's not just easy to say go make a game, because it's not easy, basically. My greater point in all of this is that Halo has such a diverse universe that ties into so many amazing popular elements of the franchise. I feel it's possible for Microsoft to not be scared when making a different style of Halo. The name itself has a lot of buying power in modern culture, and if Halo Infinite is the success that we discussed and it regains a lot of the popularity of the past, I think the new styles of games can spin off such expansions akin to what we've already seen in terms of real-time strategy at Halo. So I would like to know your points. Are you interested in the Insurrection in general? Is it something that you're aware of? And would you like to see this more fleshed out in the future? Or outside of that, what other types of Halo games would you like? We know we had the Halo Mega Bloks game cancelled. Is there any sort of genre, style or tone you would like? Let me know in the comment section down below. Bang, cool, there's my ideas. I hope you enjoy the video. Once again, my name is Fletch from Ultimate Halo, the one and only, and you can find me on Twitter at FletchUH. Peace.
Subscribe now to Ultimate Halo for more unfiltered friggin' believable Halo content.